practice is a shortened version of a longer practice I created for my Patreon. One of my patrons asked me to create an offering to make you sweat. So this is the inspiration of today's practice. And actually, I'm going to divide this theme into two separate practices. So this first practice will have a focus more on the lower body. Active and awake, engaged feet, legs, and hips, as well as a little bit of abdominals. And then the second practice will focus on the upper body. So I hope you enjoy. That's the main thing, right? This is play and celebration in the body, in the moment, on the mat, okay? Now, if you have props, if you have blocks rather, then have those nearby. But if you don't have anything, don't worry. You don't absolutely need anything. Okay, so let's start seated. We're going to sit, knees bent, soles of feet on the mat. And if you have a block, we'll use that. Otherwise, you might use a rolled up towel or a folded cushion. And if you don't have anything, you're just going to imagine that you've got a block, okay? So we'll take one of our blocks and you can place it on any orientation that's most comfortable for you, between the thighs, above the knees, between the thighs, and gently squeeze the block. So you might have it a little wider or you might have it a little narrower, whatever's most comfortable for you and your knees and your hips. And then holding the block there, just gentle pressure, or your imaginary block or your towel or your rolled folded blanket. Let's bring the hands behind the thighs and we'll slowly roll down the spine, vertebra by vertebra, and we'll come and lay on our back. And as you come down onto your back, bring the heels in a little bit closer towards the hips, as though you were preparing to come into bridge pose, and relax the arms. Okay, from here, just feel the body on the mat to begin with. So we're just arriving, presencing in the body. And then when you're ready, there's going to be barely any movement. This is subtle. Start to press your right thigh in onto your block. So you're squeezing the right leg into the block, or your imaginary block, or your blanket, or whatever you're using. And feel the engagement of the inner right thigh, maybe even coming all the way up towards the lower abdominals. And then release, but keep the block there. Let's do that twice more. Right thigh squeezing in on the block and letting go. Squeezing in and letting go. Let's do the left side. Left thigh squeezing in on the block or your imaginary block and letting go. And squeezing in and letting go. And one more, squeezing in and letting go. Now squeeze both thighs in on your block or your imaginary block. Arms alongside the body, palms facing down towards the mat. And as you inhale, start to curl the tail, the pelvis, the lower back, the mid-back, upper back, up off the mat into bridge pose. And then as we exhale, we'll come back down again, placing each segment of the spine sequentially back down on the mat. Let's do two more. Okay, rising up on the inhale, vertebra by vertebra. And lowering down on the exhale, vertebra by vertebra. And this time as we rise up, we're going to stay, taking each pearl, each segment of the spine up away from the mat into bridge pose. Keep the block there, or your imaginary block, right? Imagination is very powerful too. And now we'll stay in bridge pose and do the same practice. Right thigh squeezing in on the block, and then letting go. Twice more, squeezing in and letting go. And last one, right thigh squeezing in and letting go. Let's go left side, left thigh squeezing in and letting go. Squeezing in again and letting go. And last one, beautiful one, squeezing in and letting go. And then stay here for one more in-breath, both thighs squeezing in on the block. And as you exhale, let's slowly lower each segment of the spine, upper back, mid back, lower back, all the way down. And we'll take the block or the blanket or the cushion away and just take a moment, hug both knees into the chest, a little rock side to side. And then when you're ready, let's make our way up off our backs, and we'll come into a downward facing dog. So I'll meet you in down dog and just take a few moments to arrive. Maybe you bicycle through the legs, sway the hips, nod or shake the head, and just feel, because we're going to play quite a bit with stability and balance. For now, just feel hands and feet on the mat and how stable and grounded that is for you. Okay, and then from down dog, let's come forward to plank pose. All right, so we will be focusing just a little bit on the full circumference of our center. So let's stay here for the exhale. We won't be here for long. Just see if you can remember to awaken and firm the legs and the buttocks here. Sometimes we can let them be quite sleepy in plank pose. One more in-breath. And on the out breath, let's lower the knees first, chest forward, gazing forward onto the floor in front of you, and slowly lower all the way onto the mat. Okay, Sphinx pose. Let's come up onto the forearms, elbows right underneath the shoulders, shoulder width distance, interlace the fingers and outer wrists, pressing into the mat. And just take a moment to enjoy the length through the front seam of the body. And as I always say in my practices with my students, slow is strong. So we're not going to rely on momentum today. We're going to focus on building and cultivating strength, which is really useful actually. So as you're ready, exhale, take your time. Start to feel the front ribs lifting away from the mat into the body and the lower belly. And then as you press the forearms down, lift the front of the pelvis and the fronts of the thighs, and pause here in this modified forearm plank. So if you've already tucked the toes and lifted the knees, come back here if you can, and see if you can really encourage today the tail to curl under between the legs and down towards the floor beneath you. Forearms pressing down into the mat. And you might stay here, or curl the toes under, lift the knees and come into forearm plank. Firm the legs, firm the buttocks, feet hip width distance. And we just hear another breath or so. So for the last breath that you're here, you might choose to come with me and bring the heels in toward one another, turning the toes out a little in a first position shape, and feel heels and inner thighs really squeezing in toward one another, firming the buttocks and feeling an engagement through the outer hips here too. And if the heels are together, let's release that, parallel the feet again. And as we exhale, lower the knees, and slow as strong, take your time. Tops of thighs, front of pelvis, belly and ribs lower, and we arrive back into Sphinx pose. And I can feel the heat already. Can you? Oh my goodness. Take another in-breath. And on the out breath, let's release. Slide the hands back and press back for a moment in downward dog. Now, this is actually probably a really lovely practice for those of us in the northern hemisphere in the winter time, to just create a little bit of heat and shift that stagnant tamasic energy that can happen in winter time, or after indulging in all the food and the celebrations of the end of the year and the beginning of the year. Okay, let's walk our feet forward to the top of the mat now. Uttanasana. Take a moment, release the head and the neck, and we'll bend the knees and slowly roll vertebra by vertebra up the spine to stand. Roll the shoulders up and back and down. And here we are. So let's start with balance now. And for stability and balance, we need a little bit of awakening and strength through the circumference of our center, which we've already done, and through the legs and the outer hips too, as well as the feet. So bring your attention now to the right leg and bring your right hand to the outer right hip. So the muscles on the outer hip rather than the back. And with that awareness now, start to firm those muscles. And then bring your attention to your toes. We want to use our toes in balance. There's a time to relax the toes and there's time to use them. So we're going to use them now. Toes pressing down. Toes pressing down, outer right hip firm. And as you're ready, lift the left knee. And then you might bring both hands to Anjali Mudra, keeping the outer right hip firm, right toes pressing down into the mat. And here is where we come back to that concept of slow is strong. So as you're ready, start to soften into that supporting leg knee, the right knee. Lean the torso forward as you slowly reach the right leg back through space. We really want to take our time. Deepen the bend through the right knee, lean the torso forward, and then lightly step the ball of the left foot back into crescent lunge. And that is controlled transitional movements, stability, and balance. Let's interlace the hands behind us, reach the knuckles back and down, open the chest a moment. And then we'll let that go, and we'll do the same thing coming forward. Hands to prayer, lean the torso forward, but keep the chest open, the shoulders lifted onto the back, gazing forward, not down. And start to shift the weight into the front foot, front toes actively engaging with the mat. Step the back foot in a little, and as you're ready, lift the back leg, rise to stand, lift the left knee, firm the outer right hip, right toes on the mat. And then we'll release. Okay, straight to second side. So this time attention to outer left hip. Firming those muscles, using the hand to help you to create that pathway, and then left toes, actively connecting with the mat like they want to feel the texture of your mat. And then as you're ready, let's pick up the right knee. Hands to prayer, steady, soft gaze, and keep the consistency, the regularity of the breath here. And then again. Slow is strong, beautiful ones. Left knee bends. You might even just pause here. Feel what you feel. Torso leans forward, chest forward. Right leg reaches back. Deepen the bend through the left knee here if you can. And see how lightly you can land. Ball of right foot to mat. Crescent lunge. Interlace the fingers the other way behind you. And reach the knuckles back and down. Just a moment to enjoy that openness through the front body. And let go. Bring the hands back to center in front of the chest. Pour the torso forward, heart forward. Gazing forward onto the floor in front of you. And watch as the weight pours down through that front leg into the foot. Toes are helping you to balance. Start to shift the weight further and further forward. Step the back foot in. Lift the back leg. Rise to stand. And lifting that right knee up in front of you. Outer left hip firm. Left toes on the mat. And we'll release. Amazing. Okay, we're going to step it up one more time, similar to begin with, but really adding more element of balance. If you have blocks, you can place them at the top of the mat, one on either side. If you've just got one block, just place the one block in the center. And if you don't have blocks, we're going to just place the hands on the mat, okay? So same beginning. Okay, here we go. Outer right hip firm. Right toes actively communicating, if you like, with earth, and lifting the left knee. And if we rush or if we use momentum, we're actually more likely to lose our balance. So we take our time, and we know that when we take our time, we're also building strength. Stability in motion is really useful for day-to-day life, day-to-day activities, especially as we move through life and age. Soften through the right knee, lean forward, reach the left leg back, deepen the bend in the right knee, lightly step the ball of the left foot back. Reach the arms a moment this time now in crescent lunge. So far we've just repeated what we've already done. But now let's add on, okay? Hands to prayer. Lean the torso forward. Pause a little, chest open. Gaze forward. Right toes engaging with the mat. Pour the weight into the right leg. Shift forward, step the back foot in, and as you're ready, start to lift the left leg behind you into warrior three. Okay, we're here, we're in balance. Right toes and base of right big toe anchoring into the mat. Just another breath. And as you exhale, let's bring our left hand only down to our block or the floor right underneath the left shoulder. And now might be the moment where the left leg gets a little tired, starts to droop down towards the mat. So see if you can keep lifting that left leg up. And the outer right hip might want to sway out to the right. So see if you can keep hugging the outer right hip in towards the midline of your mat. Take in breath, get a little longer, reaching back through the left toes, forward through the crown of the head, and as you exhale, turn the torso to the right, towards your supporting leg, and reach the right arm up. So this is revolved half moon. This is challenging, I totally acknowledge this. This is a tricky one. And then as you're ready, let's release right hand down to your block or your blocks, or to the floor. Take a moment, pause. Can you keep that left leg lifted? My supporting leg's getting tired too, so if you're tired, I'm with you. And then start to get a little lighter on the hands. Maybe coming onto the fingertips. And when you're ready, can you lift both hands away from the floor or the blocks, hands to prayer, warrior three. And let's rise to stand. Lift the left knee up in front of you. Firm that outer right hip, right toes anchoring. And then we'll release. Wonderful. It's a tricky one. So let's do last side and then we'll come and release together. Okay, so here we go. Awareness into the outer left hip. Firm those muscles. Use your hands as your guide. Like they're your teacher too. You're getting that feedback as you feel the muscles beneath the hands firming. Left toes communicating, anchoring into the mat, and right knee lifting. And there's a tendency in balances to let the hips sway out to the side. So we want to really recruit these muscles in the outer hips to hug the outer hip in towards center. And that stabilizes the pelvis and our balance actually. And then here we go, last time together. We start to soften the left knee. Pour the torso forward as you reach the right leg back. See how much time you can take. See how smooth the transition can be, how controlled it can be. Deepen the bend through the left knee. Lightly step the ball of the right foot back. Reach the arms here. Just enjoy crescent lunge a moment. And here we go. Last time, second side, hands to prayer. Lean the torso forward over the front thigh. Keep the chest drawing forward rather than collapsing down towards earth. Gaze forward. Shift the weight forward into the front foot. Take your time. Step the back foot in. And lift the back leg. Virabhadrasana 3, warrior 3. Outer left hip hugging in. Back of right hip and thigh, really working to lift that leg up. It's really challenging, I know. I'm with you. and then right hand to the floor or your block. Okay, so now we don't have to focus too much on balance. We've got another point of contact with earth, but keep lifting the right leg, reaching forward through the crown of the head, and as you're ready, rotate the torso to the left and reach the left arm up towards the ceiling, up towards sky. Wow. I feel the heat today. I'm definitely sweating, that's for sure. And then let's bring left hand down to your block, or if you're using two blocks, your other block, or to the floor. If you're coming to the floor, it's going to be more challenging for you to lift the hands away from the floor. I totally acknowledge that. A moment here, catch the breath, stay in the body. It's okay to have a little bend in the supporting leg knee. And when you're ready, let's lift the hands away from the floor, hands to prayer. Ooh, warrior three. And then we'll lift the torso, rise. Lift the right knee up in front of you. Outer left hip firm, toes anchoring. And then we'll release the arms. Shake it out a little bit if you need. That's amazing. Okay. Feel the warmth, the heart beating. Aliveness. Yeah. And let's come down to the mat now together. We'll flow to get there. Inhale, reach the arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, fold over the legs. Keep those toes in contact with the mat. Halfway lift, inhale, toes connected. And exhale, let's plant the hands and step back. One more downward facing dog together. Just a handful of breaths here. How good does it feel to have those 4 points of contact again with the mat and feel that stability here, that foundation, no longer standing on one leg. And we'll lower the knees to the mat and let's make our way to lay down on our backs and just release a little bit now. The muscles of the outer hip that have been working to stabilize us in our balance. So we'll bring right ankle, outer right ankle to top of left thigh in this figure four shape. And you might keep the left foot on the floor or pick up the left foot and reach the hands through to take a hold of the back of the left thigh or the front of the left shin. And let's release the left leg, left foot comes back down onto the mat. And now we'll hug the right knee into the chest, interlace the hands on the top of the right shin and stretch the left leg long away from you onto the mat. We'll open our right arm to the right and guide the knee with the left hand across the body into a twist over to the left. Letting go from efforting now, and you can allow and invite the weight of the body to just let go onto or surrender onto the mat. And we'll return to center, hug the right knee in one last time. And then let's release and switch sides. So outer left ankle to top of right thigh. And you can choose right foot stays where it is on the mat or drawing the legs in a little, hands interlacing behind the thigh or even in front of the shin. Notice if you have a tendency to lean a little bit towards the left, and see if you can just counter that by gently leaning a little rightward, balancing a little more across the back of the pelvis. Notice how that changes sensation for you. Okay, let's release, right foot to mat, hug the left knee in, Reach the right leg away. Relax the shoulders, sides of the neck long. And let's come across into the twist on the second side. Left arm opens out to the left, and right knee draws across the body. Last in breath on this side. And we'll exhale back to center. Left knee draws in one more time, and then take a final hug of both knees in. You might take a brief happy baby. And from here, you might choose to stretch the legs away from you and allow yourself time to take rest in Shavasana. But if you just have this much time and space to practice today, then sweetly roll to a side and join me in any comfortable seat to close the practice. You might settle the hands on the lap or on the thighs, just sitting comfortably, sitting tall. And whether you're reclining in Shavasana or seated here with me, just notice how the feet and the legs and the hips in your center feel. Feeling the aliveness and the constellation of sensations in the lower body. Knowing that you've facilitated stability in motion, stability in balance in your practice today. And if you're seated, you might lift the hands, fold the palms, gently bow the forehead to the fingertips. A gesture of reverence, saluting your practice. Have a beautiful rest of your day, your week, and sending you all my love. Peace, peace, peace. Thanks for practicing all the way to the end. Every practice I offer is possible thanks to the support of my patrons. So if you'd like to continue to support me as well as access full-length practices, meditations and pranayama, then sign up on Patreon. Thanks.